Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's session is going to have the intention of opening up the shoulders, getting everything nice and open, especially if you're at a desk. We tend to curl the shoulders over, closing out across the chest. So today we're just going to focus on opening it out, getting nice and broad, opening up the spine, getting up nice and tall. And we'll ensure that we get a full body stretch, but the intention for today is the shoulders. So to begin with, we're going to come down to seated, getting into a nice tall seated position, stacking the spine. So either sitting on a block or maybe a cushion, taking ourselves out of our lower back. We're going to sit up nice and tall, chest nice and proud, shoulders down and away from the ears, tucking the chin very slightly and imagining that mannequin string pulling us up towards the ceiling or the sky, depending on where you're watching this video. And from here, we're just going to begin to slow down the breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Inhaling in and exhaling out. So throughout this whole practice, we want to ensure that we're really inhaling through the full length of the torso, and then as we exhale, we're really vacuuming out the lower abdomen. And then that way, as we inhale, we'll intensify the stretch, and as we exhale, we want to ensure that we're really coming in on itself, so everything's really getting a stretch internally. Okay, so to begin with, we're just going to start by rolling the shoulders forward without curling the back. Ensure our lower back is still up nice and tall. We're just going to round the shoulders forward, taking our time here, slowly making bigger and bigger circles till we're maybe nearly touching our ears. Really pulling back on the reverse of the circle, really pulling the shoulder blades together as we come to the back of the circle and as we come forward. Ensuring we've still got a tall back as we come forward. Then we'll just reverse the motion. Just giving ourselves some nice little rounded shrugs. Just warming up the shoulders. Okay, then from here, we're just going to take one arm to the side, laying down our forearm if that's available to you. If not, feel free to just come down part of the way, maybe just dropping the elbow ever so slightly. Making sure that we're nice and grounded in the sit bones. If we find that's a bit of a struggle, again, a cushion or anything under our sitting muscles will help just bring the floor a little bit closer. Then with our opposing arm, or in this case my right arm, we're just going to lift it up towards the ceiling, stretch out nice and long, and then maybe if it's available to you, just slowly coming overhead to wherever's comfortable. So inhaling in, nice and deeply, really filling up the tank, and then exhaling, really vacuuming out the lower abdomen. So what we're doing here is we're getting a really nice stretch into the side body, into the lats, into the armpit, and then that should hopefully start to release a little bit around the shoulders here as well, as everything in the body is interconnected. So although we might not be directly working on something, it should affect it just merely by being interconnected. And on a big inhale, we'll rise up, nice and tall. And then on an exhale, we're just simply taking it to the other side, bringing the arm over, getting that nice stretch in the side of the body. Again, keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears here, creating plenty of space. Okay, then from here we're going to lift up. And from here, we're just going to come onto all fours. We're just going to do a little bit of cat-cow here. Just trying to get across the shoulder blades here is the intention. So as we inhale, going to lower the abdomen towards the floor, really arching the back, pulling the shoulder blades together, trying to pull the chest forward as we inhale. And then as we exhale, try to splay the shoulder blades apart, really pushing your spine through in between them, rounding out the back body, vacuuming in the lower abdomen into the back body. Then reversing it, inhaling, pulling those shoulder blades together, making sure we're nice and arched. Trying to almost close or clamp your shoulder blades together. Then as we exhale, reversing the motion, creating as much space between them as possible. And then inhaling, coming back. Exhale, rising up. I'm just going to do this a few times here. It might feel a little uncomfortable at first. But each time should hopefully feel a little bit easier. If you've got exceptionally rounded shoulders or tight shoulders, you might not get a lot of movement here. Don't worry about it. Whatever movement you can get today, just roll with it. Trying to go as far as comfortably possible. Okay, from here we're just going to curl around the back toes. And we're going to come up into downward facing dog. Getting up nice and long. Take a little bit extra knee bend here just to ensure we're getting our back nice and long, nice and arched. So we're not going into a full ego, lovely Instagram looking pose. We're just going to curl the knees here and focus on the upper body. Try and get a nice arch here. Again, pulling the shoulders back and away from the ears. If you've got tight shoulders, you should maybe be feeling a stretch across the back of the shoulders here. Really running from around the traps area, back of the shoulders, all the way down to maybe halfway down the back maybe. Then if you want a little bit of an extra challenge here, if you feel nice and strong, maybe starting to straighten the knees, just introducing a little more of a stretch. The back of the legs, maybe into the calves. Don't worry if not. Then on an exhale, we'll release down to the floor, uncurl the back toes. And we're just going to push back into child's pose, keeping our hands firmly gripped on our mats. And use that friction, just get an extra level of stretch across shoulders and especially into the armpits. If it's available to you, maybe placing your sit muscles on your ankles, placing your forehead on the floor. Again, we just want to breathe nice and deeply here. Okay, and on an inhale, coming up straight through to upward facing dog, but we're just going to leave the knees on the ground here today. Just making sure we're arching the back nicely, pulling the chest through, and really focus on pulling the shoulder blades back. Try and see if you can get them to maybe touch each other behind, really opening that chest out. We're going to stay here a little longer today, which is why we're keeping our knees on the floor. Remember to continue to breathe nice and deeply here. And then from here, we're just going to lower ourselves nice and controlled to the floor. Our head placed on the top of our mats. And we're going to start by taking our left arm, and we're just going to take it out full length to our side, so in a little bit of a T position. And then we're going to take our opposing hand, place it firmly on the floor with our elbows at 90 degrees up, and then on an inhale we're going to lift our right leg up, and then on an exhale we're going to rotate it over the left one, rotating the body around. And then if it's available to you, maybe placing that right foot on the floor. If you want to make it more intense, see how much you can roll around using your right arm to push you up and over. Obviously we don't want to go so far as to injure ourselves, so wherever's comfortable for you today. Continue to breathe nice and deeply here. We don't want to be straining ourselves, we want to be yielding into this pose. So don't try to overexert yourself. Find wherever's comfortable, and then that, in theory, the idea is you should be able to sit in this position for the next 5 minutes if you needed to. But we won't be needing to do that today, so rolling back over. We're just going to rotate sides, so take our right arm out, left arm up 90 degrees. We're just going to roll our left leg over, taking it to the floor. Now you can rest your head wherever is most comfortable for you here. Maybe look up towards the ceiling, maybe you can place it on the ground if that's comfortable, maybe putting a block or a cushion up to your ear just to help provide support if you need it. So although we're opening up the shoulders here, we still want to stay nice and long. So from the tips of our toes to that mannequin string, pulling the crown of our head, we want to try and see if we can still make that as long as possible. The longer we can lengthen and elongate the body, the better and more effective the stretches become. And then on an exhale, we'll roll forward. We're going to go back to the left arm. This time we're going to rotate it 90 degrees rather than having it straight out, a bit like cactus arms. So we're going to take the right arm, again, hand to the floor, elbow to the sky. We're going to roll over. Now this will feel a bit more intense, so don't worry if you can't quite get your foot the whole way around here. Just go wherever is most comfortable for you. Continue to breathe in nice and deeply. Keeping nice length in the body. If you are feeling quite tight here, you're finding a lot of resistance, see if there's a way where you can just breathe into that space. Maybe there's a muscle that's switched on that you can find a way just to switch off. And then on an exhale, we'll roll back over. And we'll swap the arms round. This time the right arm going up to cactus arms, left arm left hand, down to the ground, elbow to the sky. Nice big inhale. And then as we exhale, roll over that right arm. Again, depending on your level of flexibility or tightness here, also depends what kind of day you've had. If this is straight after a workout, you might find there's more blood flowing to these target muscles, and that will reduce your level of flexibility. But wherever you are today, just embrace it, just enjoy it. Just feel good in the fact you're doing something good for your body, giving yourself a bit of you time, a bit of active recovery here. Okay, and then on an exhale, we're going to roll back onto our fronts. We're going to bring our hands to the ground in front of us, elbows round about chest or shoulder level, and we're just going to come up in Sphinx pose, really pushing up, getting nice and rounded in the back, pulling the chest forward, trying to pull our shoulder blades back and away from the ears. So we're always continuing to try and pull our shoulder blades together. As you inhale, feel that exertion and the stretch. And then as you exhale, see if there's a little more space. Maybe sit up a little bit taller, or maybe pull the chest a little further through. And on the exhale, we'll lower down, bringing our hands under, scooping the toes under, and we're going to rise up into a plank, and then pushing back to downward facing dog. Again, if you want to keep the knees a little bit more bent today, feel free to. We're trying to focus on getting that nice long elongation up the back, peeling our shoulder blades together, maybe opening out the shoulders by ensuring the inside of our elbows point directly ahead of us. Can be easier said than done. Okay, then from here on an inhale, we're going to lift our right leg forward, and we're going to turn out to a wide-legged stance, toes slightly in, knees slightly out, our ankles slightly out. We'll come up to a nice standing position. Then from here, we're going to take our hands behind us. I'm going to do a front demo. We're just going to clasp the hands together, taking a bind behind us. And we're going to really pull the shoulders down and away from the ears so that we're getting nice and long. And then pinching from the hips, we're going to take a nice big inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to fold forward, pushing the bum back. And then if it's available to you, maybe taking our arms overhead, looking at the wall behind us. So here, the more you can pull your shoulders away from your ears, the easier it will be to come forward a little bit further and a little bit further. For those of you with very good flexibility, or maybe a little bit of hyper flexibility in the shoulders, you might be able to get your arms to touch the ground in front of you. Whereas for the rest of us mortals, we'll just go as far as we can go today. On each inhale, feel the intensity of that stretch between the shoulder blades across the back body. And then as we exhale, see if there's space just to peel your shoulders a little bit further back, maybe bringing it a little bit more overhead. then on an inhale, nice and control, really engaging the core. Gonna rise up to standing. And then exhale, release the arms. Okay, from here, just gonna walk the feet in to a nice squatted position. So just a little bit further than hip width, toes slightly out. We're going to take a nice big inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to lower down into a half squat with our arms pointing directly up above us. And we're just ensuring we're keeping our chest nice and proud here. Use your thumbs to help send your arms back, trying to open the shoulders out, keeping them nice and long. Inhaling nice and deeply. And then exhaling. Then from here, we'll just lower ourselves down to the ground in a nice seated position. Again, feel free to get any blocks out you've been using so far. So we're going to go and finish off in a fire log pose. So taking our left knee, we're going to point it directly in front of us so it creates a straight line. And then you might need a bit of repositioning here. But we're going to take our right knee, we're going to place it on top so that they're both pointing directly in front of us. Then from here, depending on your level of flexibility, maybe walking the feet out to the sides a little bit. You should feel a nice deep stretch in the outside edges of the leg, maybe into the hips. And from here, we're just going to try and as comfortably as possible, sit up nice and tall. Again, tucking the chin in slightly, pulling the shoulder blades away. And then from here, just going to lift the arms up, maybe taking a hold of one elbow, getting a nice stretch down the triceps. Depending on your tightness, you might feel it all the way down the side body, keeping the chest open. So we're really working a lot of the areas that work into the shoulder. Or if you feel like you want to take it a little bit further, taking that opposing arm, bringing it under and taking a bind behind our backs. And that way you get a nice stretch over the top of the opposing shoulder as well. So you're working both shoulders, but just in opposite directions. Again, continuing to keep the chest up nice and proud. Inhaling in nice and deeply. Feel the intensity of the stretch again into the shoulders, maybe into one or two other tight areas surrounding the shoulders. And then as you exhale, see if there's a little bit more space to sit up a little bit taller. Maybe increase the intensity of the bind a little bit by really pulling on the fingers a little bit more. Then exhale, release. Just go shake out the arms a wee bit. And here comes always my favorite part of this pose. So bringing the feet to the floor, keeping them in their position on the mat. We're just going to lift up our sit muscles and then following the foot that's on in front. So for me, this is my right knee. We'll follow the direction that leads to the right foot. And we're basically just going to lift up, twist round, and then just keep that going until eventually, hopefully, we land with the opposing leg on top of our previous top leg. So for me, this is now my left knee on top of my right knee. Might need to finish off with some little readjustments. Just get yourself into a nice seated position. Don't worry if it feels strange on this side. You should again feel that nice stretch side of the legs, sitting up nice and tall. And then from here, We're just going to take the opposing arm this time. Just get a nice stretch in that shoulder. And then if anyone wants to take it a little bit further, taking that opposing arm round, creating a bind behind the back body. If you can't quite hold onto your hands, feel free to use a strap, a tie or a belt, just so that you've got something to grasp onto. And over time you can slowly work your hands up or down that belt until eventually over time you'll be able to feel where the other hand is and be able to take a full bind. So again here, as you inhale, feel the intensity of the stretch. And then as you exhale, see if there's a little bit more space to play with, maybe pulling on the hands a little bit more, and I'll just engage the shoulders, pull them back a little bit further. And then release the hands, maybe give them a little bit of a shake. Just going to unfurl the feet, take them out in front of us, and then wherever you feel most comfortable this evening, we're just going to finish off in a nice tall seated position. Just finish off, eyes closed, just inhaling in, exhaling out. Just take a note how the shoulders are feeling. They feel a little bit more grizzly. Do they feel like they've been exercised a little bit? So a little bit nicer range of motion in there. And then if your eyes are soft and closed, just flutter the eyelids, allow the light back in. And thank you for joining me again today. If you like that type of session where we kind of set an intention for one area of the target of the body, feel free to drop down any other parts of the body you want to work on in the comments. I'll see if I can put together a nice just little easy 20-minute stretch. Just allows us to ease off any target areas that slowly become affected as we go about our daily lives. So whatever you're doing today, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.